The greatness of a man is not measured by the amount of wealth he acquires, but his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively.
Hello, I am Nadia Figueroa and I'm a Deputy Director at National Integrity Action. In this documentary, we will be sharing with you stories of Jamaicans. Some are international icons, some are everyday people. All are living their lives with integrity and making a significant contribution. We have a lot to be proud of. As Jamaicans, we have achieved tremendous success and even greatness. We have done this with hard work, discipline, sacrifice, through our creativity, our brilliance, our strength, and our resourcefulness. And most of all, we have done this with integrity. I invite you to take lessons and draw inspiration from these stories on how we may face present challenges while continuing to make strides as individuals, as communities, and as a nation. Integrity. Living by our morals and values, doing what we feel is the right thing, and doing right by others, even when no one else is looking. It is not always easy, and it is always a work in progress. I feel, as a younger Jamaican, that there are greater possibilities for us, and great rewards ahead, if we all work towards integrity. I hope by the end of this film that you feel the same. Before we begin, let me introduce our Executive Director, Professor Trevor Monroe.
Thank you, Nadia. Let me first of all express sincere appreciation to the hundreds, indeed the thousands of Jamaicans from all walks of life who since NIA's launch in December 2011 at public forums, in town hall meetings, and indeed just a man in the street, have expressed much support and deep respect for the admittedly uphill task that we have undertaken to combat corruption and to build integrity in Jamaica. The truth is that despite much gloom and doom, there's a great deal happening in our country that is very positive and very hopeful. We in NIA, we take comfort from surveys that show far less Jamaicans today are willing to pay or to take a bribe than a few years ago. We derive much encouragement from the fact that almost 8 out of 10 Jamaicans say they are willing to work with us to combat corruption in our country. The truth is, in each of us, in each of our institutions, there is that capability to do right, however difficult it is, to build integrity and to ensure not just that we do the right thing because it is right, but because ultimately that is what brings success for each of us, for our communities and for our nation as a whole. That is what this film is about. Building integrity, a work in progress. Back to you, Nadia.
Thank you, Prof. When Jamaicans first hit the world stage in athletics, it was not unusual for us to be running barefooted. And now, nations far richer, far bigger than us, are chasing our records on the tracks. And sneakers are being named after our athletes. But the glamour, fame, and glory of our athletic achievements has been built on a strong foundation. Behind our present success, generations of committed athletes, coaches, school-level competitions, and other institutions. And we still have further to go to ensure that we support our athletes, that we consistently achieve international standards in our national program, and most of all, that we protect our hard-earned reputation to the world.
The sport has been damaged and tarnished by those who have, in their own desire, seeks to take shortcut in order to achieve glory. And we will never be able to shake the criticism or the disbelief of performances that are outstanding.
The world itself, especially those countries who are spending billions of dollars on their athletics program, being beaten comprehensively by a nation that are spending sense on their program. It makes no sense, and therefore it leads them to think based on their own history and what is happening in their own sports. And I'm talking about our North American neighbor when it comes to Major League Baseball and the National Football League and those things. Those sports are known to be rife with performance-enhancing drugs.
Well, the results of those persons who would have cheated, whether directly or indirectly, is obvious. We have seen a lot of persons from 1988 who were on top and have been, I don't want to use the word disgrace, but who have now fallen off their high pedestal. So it is no inspiration or motivation for persons to follow this path. And we can use Usain Bolt as a perfect example, a man who has achieved so much out of the sport and have done it based on his hard work. So that is enough motivation for the athletes here.
Get your elbow them back, Crystal. Two up.
And if you were to look at the system that we have, I don't believe that there's any. As a matter of fact, there's no system in the world that has the track and field system that Jamaica has, from the grassroots right up to the senior level.
The children who walk for great distances to go and play a football match. You go to track athletics meet and you see youngsters running barefooted and just enjoying themselves for the sake of sport. But because we are a poor country, we have to make do with what we have. And this is why, for example, track athletics, which is a sport in which we have done exceedingly well on the international level, is something which we must encourage, because we are able to take part in track athletics in rural areas without a tremendous amount of equipment.
Sports Development Foundation was the one who, they were the ones who, you know, get the primary schools. I think they have a national championships, and I think Sagicor, JTA Sagicor, I think that's the same meet now. But that was the one where all the parish champions, we all from one parish go, from primary schools, go to that championships, and then the best, they'll take it to the national championships in Kingston.
I've heard so often about the development of recreational activities, the development of physical education, development of sports in itself in Jamaica, in the rural areas and all around this country. And then I say to myself, what will these youngsters really think about? Will they emulate Quarry?
Another triumph for young Quarry.
I mean, what we've been able to achieve in the last few years surely should not be considered magic. We've always maintained very solid presence in track and field, dating back to the 1940s. I mean, even prior to that, we competed as the British West Indies in the Olympic Games. But what has begun to happen is that because we have become a lot more organized in terms of the development and the support systems for the sport, but we have begun to improve our presence on international stage. So it really is magic at all.
We have got to say to the world, don't wonder about us. We are above wondering. Our athletes are the production of genetics, because we've been doing this since 1948, and the production of championships, which is unrivaled in the world.
I believe that credit must be given to the educational system, which has retained physical education and sport on the curriculum. There are many countries where that has fallen off the cliff. And the fact that they have this on the curriculum attracts young people, boys and girls, from the kindergarten stage.
A lot of people are now becoming aware of what I've considered to have evolved into almost a religion, and that is Boys and Girls Championship, which is our high school championships here in Jamaica. I mean, the systems that support that event, I mean, they're very complex and very, very intense, very passionate. I mean, you go anywhere around this country and you go to the smallest school and they're having sports day, and you see 3- and 4-year-olds, competing at a level that you would not imagine. A lot of what we do feeds into that system, right, and the glory that comes from that system. that really, in a sense, is the bedrock of the success of our track and field here in Jamaica. All the systems that support that, right? So, I mean, we have been able to raise this to the level almost, like I said, of a religion, right? And once you have that kind of passion into anything that you do, I mean, success is almost inevitable.
For me, as an athlete, I love the fact that when I stand at the line to compete, I have nothing to fear, I have nothing to worry about, so I'm relaxed. I don't go running and at the end of the line I'm wondering if somebody is going to come and stick me and they'll find something. So it's less thing for me to worry about, and the better I'll be able to perform. So it's something, and I hate being ashamed. I'm one of those persons who want to have a very clean slate.
Jamaicans know the evidence why we are so good. The world doesn't see it that way. And we have got to prove to the world that we are drug-free. And the only way to do it is a comprehensive, open, without interference or without conflict of interest drug testing program. And we have to demand it, and we have to have it.
I knew that with hard work, I could have achieved what I have achieved, and I just go out there and put in the work.
We're in a sport where if you want to be successful, you have to put in the hard work. There's no shortcut.
At the end of the day, I don't want to be a disgrace to myself and my family, as well as my coach who put his energy in us and then we disgrace him. So I wouldn't want to take anything, and I double check off everything that I take.
There's no reason for you to cheat. You just need to put your mind to it, mental and physical, and you'll be able to do it.
I don't think that anybody should question the importance of maintaining certain standards of integrity and supporting the Christian values that should go with that.
I have strong belief in God and the power of God and what He can do for me. And I've seen hard work, I've worked hard, and it has paid off.
Representing Jamaica is a really great feeling. It helps to motivate you more, wanting to do more. Your community who is behind you, you feel good help knowing that you're as a small community, as where I live in my gully, they are behind me 150%. So it feels good to represent myself and my country, as well as my community.
Our extraordinary athletes show us that greatness is possible with hard work, dedication, sacrifice, and integrity. The success of our athletics program also reminds us that it takes much more than raw talent. Families, friends, schools, communities, and coaches all play a significant role in every single medal achieved. We at National Integrity Action believe that we must all rise to the challenge of building institutions that safeguard our integrity and fight against corruption across all areas of society. One such institution will be the new Integrity Commission to be launched by Parliament. Because be it in sports, be it in music, be it in business or politics, nothing short of the utmost will, commitment, professionalism, and vigilance is required in upholding our standards. The cost is too high when we fail to do so. And besides, we are far too great to need cheating or corruption to succeed.
I grew up in an Eastern St. Andrew community called Rasta Lane. I was introduced to violence at a very early age. 4 persons were murdered in a single day. I couldn't read, I couldn't spell, I couldn't write at about the age of 8. And I went to Vauxhall. I met some really wonderful teachers who believed in us long before we started to believe in ourselves as students. I think in about 2nd form, I was introduced to Dr. Ben Carson's book, The Gifted Hand. And that story of Dr. Ben Carson really had a significant impact on me. Here I was in a situation very much similar to his when he was growing up. And he's telling me that he grew up in the same circumstances, yet 30 years down the line, he became a neurosurgeon. While I was at Vauxhall, in second form as well, something happened. I used to sit in the back of my math class, and I used to idle with some other guys who, of course, came from volatile communities around the area. But one day a teacher decided that he's going to, talk to me. He came to the bus stop and he saw me and he said, how are things going? And we're there and we started a conversation. It eventually led to us talking about math. And I was telling him that, I found the subject really difficult and I couldn't manage it, that sort of thing, because I had a mental block. And he's like, it's not that the subject is hard, it's just that you're not paying attention. You're always at the back, wasting away your life with those other guys, and you're really wasting a very valuable opportunity here. And that had a very profound impact on me. From that day on, I decided that I'm going to pay attention in math class. I changed my position in the class, as a matter of fact. And I saw the results very soon after the first test the teacher gave. I saw my math grade moving from like in the 50s to 80s, to the 80s, 85% to be specific. Mommy is always hopeful. She just thinks that one day things are going to get better. And that's a sort of hope I have today. She taught me the value of honesty. I couldn't do things like, for example, coming home from school with any book, any pencil, any pen, any eraser, any sharpener that she didn't buy for me. She would try to find out where did I get it from, and she would ensure that, it's not because I've taken it from somebody. She taught me the value of honesty, and she taught me the value of speaking the truth, despite whatever consequences it may bear. She also, by way of her own actions, she taught me the value of family, looking out for family and never giving up hope. I see myself continuing my mission to become the best me that I can be. And in so doing, I hope to inspire others to do the same. I also see myself playing a role in the development of Jamaica's financial sector. I believe that if we can stabilize our economy, develop our financial sector and stabilize our economy, there will be more opportunities for Jamaicans. And if we can change that by, first of all, working on our economic system, then I believe that Jamaica will be in a better place 10 years down the line. Today I have a profession in mathematics, and I'm going to pursue my master's degree at Oxford in mathematics. I'm Timar Jackson, 2014 Jamaica Rhodes Scholar and an actuarial analyst at Sagicor Life Jamaica Limited.
It always seems impossible until it's done.
Elections used to be fearful occasions in Jamaica. In the 1980 election, over 800 persons died in politically related violence. In fact, ballot boxes were tampered with. Some ballot boxes disappeared altogether. And in some constituencies, there were more votes counted than persons on the voting list. And now, today, Jamaica is visited so that people can learn about our best practices in holding elections. It took courage for our leaders in politics, in public and private sector, across civil society, student groups and churches to turn our elections around. And we still have further to go, more gains to make, so we may proudly claim a free, fair, and just political process.
And it took us almost to the brink of civil war in Jamaica in the late 1970s. And to the great credit of the persons who led us to the edge of the precipice, they looked over the precipice, see what was down there, and said, no, we cannot continue what we inherited.
Oh, our elections were, put it simply, not going well. Stolen ballots, disappearance of voting paper, many things, and that led to almost, I don't want to use too strong a word, but very unsettling happenings, which gave us a very bad reputation worldwide.
In the case of Jamaica, and what we have learned from the past 20, 30 years of electoral history is that there were a lot of problems and even conflict related to election day and acceptance of results, as well as many other issues related to the registry, related to how results were transmitted in terms of the technologies utilized to transmit results.
And so in 1979, our then leaders, Mr. Seaga, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Michael Manley, and then subsequently Mr. Patterson, they came together and decided to form the Electoral Advisory Committee.
So at the time we recognized that it was a responsibility, maybe and indeed an obligation on us as citizens to protect our democracy. And in so doing, we looked at a number of different models across the region and internationally, models where citizens participated in the process of observing elections in order to ensure that they were free and fair and free from fear.
I think people got to a stage where they wanted to clean up the system. Why should we have people, I didn't say it before, but dying, being killed over electoral matters? And I think, yes, the politicians of the day took a decision, and we have to commend them for that.
So I think it is a collective achievement, and of the people of the country who have volunteered. So we have very critical partnerships. For example, with the Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections, CAFE, with other bodies, with the umbrella group of representing the churches that have played a critical role, with the political ombudsman, with the international observers.
Another very important thing was that local observers had been trained and contributed the primary duties in watching out what happened in the elections. And that's very important, not to have just foreign observers, but also a lot of trained local observers. That was another important contribution. When we got there and studied the situation, that the people of Jamaica were very eager to improve on the past experiences with a lot of violence, with garrison communities, things of that kind. By the time we got there, we had an enthusiastic invitation from both the ruling party and also the opposition parties.
Of note was the role and function of the Honorable Maurice Facey, who is now passed, in mobilizing resources and the support of the local private sector to be able to ensure that we could, as an organization, pull off our first observer mission in 1997 at a time when a number of persons in Jamaica was literally saying that because of the fear and the challenges and the cloud over our election process and the business of electioneering, no one or very few persons in Jamaica was going to participate in a movement that is largely voluntary. And to be honest, we had some over 2,000 people mobilized across Jamaica to observe the election at the time as indoor observers.
Another problem that we witnessed during 1997 was that the various elements of the Jamaican society were not working together. The parties were still at odds. The election commission still didn't have the full support of the people. The security forces were not directly involved in cooperative efforts. The voters list was still uncertain. So although a good effort was made, there were many problems in that election which we observed and on which we commented quite freely. So we saw progress, but still a long way to go. Well, to take credit where it may not be due, I think a lot of the criticisms and recommendations of the Carter Center from the 1997 election were adopted and implemented by different factions and organizations in Jamaica. And this was all done by the local people, not by the Carter Center. But there was no doubt that for that second election that we observed, the different political parties cooperated with each other in this preparation.
Only registered electors should vote, number one. They should vote only once. They should vote in person. They should vote on ballot papers that cannot be traced back to them. Every vote should be counted. Every candidate must have his representative there, and so on and so on. We just had 10 standards for free and fair elections, simple things.
The ECJ, EOJ continues to contribute significantly because of the improvements within that body and the developments that has occurred over the number of years. Their structure, their systems, their process, their procedures, and the propensity to, the importance, the value of implementing all of the systems and processes that they have developed over the years have significantly contributed to the integrity that we now see within our electoral process.
I came up with the idea of an election center in which you would bring together the parties that are contesting elections, the international and the local observers, the security forces, the political ombudsman, the director of elections, and have them be the persons that coordinate things, resolve conflict, give out authentic information.
There's no doubt in my mind that the presence of CAFE since 1997 in the electoral process have contributed significantly to the level of integrity that we have seen in the electoral process, in elections that we have had over the years.
And in the case of Jamaica, both in 2007 as well as 2011, we see that the minimum standards for democratic elections have been observed in the way that elections are organized and are conducted in Jamaica.
I think Jamaicans are satisfied that we have free, fair, credible, and transparent elections.
So I would say that Jamaica set a good example at the beginning, and my hope is that the issue of freedom of information or openness of government or transparency, those three things are all the same, that they will continue to be pursued in Jamaica on the government's own initiative and with close monitoring by everyone in the country who deserve a right to know what their own government is doing. It not only strengthens the democratic process, but it gives the people who sometimes are doubtful about the capability or integrity of government that exists in the United States as well, to have more confidence in their own government.
Elections are the bedrock of democracy, and therefore, if our whole democratic process is to survive and strengthen, we need to have these free, fair, and I'm now adding the words credible and transparent elections.
If you ask me what we must take from the ECJ experience to the rest of Jamaica, it is that. It is respect. It is justice. It's impartiality. It's one system that works for everybody without exception. That needs to be in place, because when that happens, even those who have the arms says, no, we need to fight.
We can take heart and lessons in the gains that we have made in our electoral process. Jamaicans exhibited courage, unity, and leadership in all spheres in combating the violence and corruption that had marred our elections. We at National Integrity Action have been championing campaign finance reform to remove the secrecy behind political campaign funding so that our representatives may be accountable to each and every one of us, not just to the big funders. To achieve this reform would require partnership and leadership across all spheres of society. The goal is attainable. We have changed for the better before. We can and must do it again.
My name is John Prey Campbell. This is basically my residence, and I operate a poultry farm here. Otherwise, like during the week, I have 9 to 5, and I attend school also. I'm doing a BSc in Business Administration at the University of Technology. I think the basis for the uniqueness is the equipment I use. I basically innovate them because like they are very expensive to buy, and if I'm to wait until I have all the money to buy them, probably I wouldn't have started as yet. So I use like material I can source or buy at the store and just put them together to make equipment that work just as good as the ones that are sold in stores. When I started this, it was out of a need for fun, for money. With the knowledge I gained in school, AutoCAD drawing, geometric drawing, all them stuff, I just see it as an opportunity to apply all them learnings, them lessons into what I do. So I really innovated this plucking machine to make it more of my own. I use like the centerpiece from a household washing machine and the outer tub and so forth, and about the rubber fingers that are used in the industrial machines. And where innovation is concerned, you have to get your measurements correct, and you have to know conversions and all of that, and how motors work, engines work, and so on. So I think education has played a vital role in me being here. In Jamaica, integrity, I think it is quite lacking in a lot of key areas, like the government and business operation. A lot of business not operating ethically or legally, as you can see, and a lot of people, their way of life, it is not with much integrity. They are not like loyal, they are not like patriots. So I think that is one of the limiting factor towards the country moving ahead. To help where integrity is concerned, I think it's better change myself first. That's why I try to act with integrity and hope that it will resound with my friends and family around me, and seeing that I am a lot of people look towards me if I act with integrity, and they see that it can be successful. I think that would be a good help in that. I've been the recipient of the Prime Minister Youth Awards in the category of agriculture. It was a remarkable experience. A lot of the things I do now, I do it so that I do it in a way, and that's the reason, one of the reasons why I like the exposure, because they get to see that you can operate ethical and with integrity. It's like there's always an opportunity to do bad. So in my drive to be different, I choose to do something with more honesty, and I like the freedom I get from it. Like I'm here, I'm not caged up somewhere. I like the freedom to just walk about any area, and I feel free. Nobody's after me, no police or no other cronies are after me, and it's a good feeling to be free and honest.
Have the courage to say no. Have the courage to face the truth. Do the right thing, because these are the magic keys to living your life with integrity.
My name's Ayana Dixon, and I'm a fashion designer. Because I was always interested in fashion. I mean, I used to always draw clothes, and I used to like sell them at school for like $5, $10 for snacks. But I never knew that could be really a job. I graduated from university, as well as I was on honor roll, which was a big deal for me, because when I was in high school, I was a bum. And when I was away at school in New York, I interned at Donna Karan, which was like an exceptional experience for me. I was on Mission Catwalk. I placed second in the first season of Mission Catwalk. I also got to show at Miami International Fashion Week, which was like the coolest thing ever in life. I won the first global grant last year. I presented my collection for the first time in Jamaica at the collection motor last year. I don't think I could have made it or developed or grown as much as I have without the support of both of them, family and friends. I I have a mentor. She's not exactly very public. She owns a boutique, Soho Boutique, Michelle Coulton. I really admire her just because of her attention to detail. She is very business savvy, as well as she's a little fashionista also. I mean, she has a fashion boutique, but she's always encouraging like everyone. You know, she's kind of like powerful like woman. So when you're around her, it doesn't matter what she's talking about. You just feel empowered, like you can do this. She's a great mentor. Well, I think just being an entrepreneur in Jamaica is very hard. I don't think that's just something that fashion designers face, but we don't really have a fashion industry in Jamaica. I mean, we're starting it and it's developing, but we're going through the growing pains. We don't really have a lot of manufacturers in terms of clothing or garments or, you know, whatever it is. Sourcing materials, it's hard to source the right materials, and you know, just the economy isn't really conducive to, you know, developing your business, because if you want to buy something from overseas, whether it's, you know, a machine or fabric or whatever it is, it's like an arm and a leg, literally. You know, with the sliding dollar. I mean, these are things that you have to think about as a business person, and it does make it very hard. I think this is so important for us because I think we've essentially lost our integrity. As Jamaicans, everybody has just kind of said, okay, well, it's not really me. And it is really you. It is really you. It's your actions, it's your words, it's the daily routine of how you live your life. Everybody complains about how Jamaica's going down and nobody's doing anything about it. And everybody's pointing a finger, well, you should do whatever. And I think that's pointing the finger is a problem with integrity. You need to be the change you wish to see in the world. This is our island, and I think a lot of people love Jamaica, but everybody's saying they love Jamaica, but they're not doing anything, which is a problem.
We must use time wisely and forever remember that the time is always ripe to do right.
How is it that a place so small has contributed culture and music that inspires the world? The voices and messages carried in our music wins international competitions. We can claim awards like Album of the Century. And according to freedom fighters in places like South Africa, we have set the tempo and the rhythm for truth, justice, and positive vibrations the world over. Of late, there has been public outcry that perhaps we're not offering the world or ourselves the best of our music, that there's work to be done in leveling and balancing the playing field, giving talent the opportunity to shine through.
Well, I think the most successful enterprise that Jamaica has had since independence is our music.
Sugar sweeter!
Well, I can say from a personal perspective, Jamaican music has firmly established Jamaica on the world stage. And here we are, a tiny island, so close to one of the largest producers of cultural content in the world, and yet we have a music that not only defines us, but gives us a global and international definition. I think there's no money, that's priceless. You can't buy that.
Our culture, and by extension the music, is documented and globally accepted and recognized thanks to Marley, maybe in the latter stages, but certainly people like Louise Bennett and Ronnie Williams before.
Locally, Jamaica's music has contributed to the whole social fabric of the country. It has given color and voice to experiences that take place here in Jamaica.
Well, from a global standpoint, reggae, in my opinion, has always been present and very vibrant. From a Jamaican perspective, I think that we have gone through a very bad period over a number of years. And on the international scene, Jamaican reggae has not grown as much as reggae from other countries. It's a combination of unprofessionalism, I would say, within the media, a failure to recognize the significant role that media should play as a part of the entertainment industry, and not to be totally focused on the bottom line, how much money you can make.
We were approached and told very pointedly and very directly, look, here's the story. You're new on the block, you have stuff that you're going to need aired, but here's the deal. The music is not going to be aired unless you join the system. And the system is essentially a payola system.
A payola is paying money for, in the case of radio stations, paying money for airplay. Payola is also paying money to get mentioned in the newspaper, you know. It's paying for your spot.
I think the danger with payola is that it skews airplay, and so a broader representation of what is produced in the country is not aired. That is the danger of payola.
First of all, I just wanted to say I've never, paid anything to get any music played before. I don't believe in it, you know what I mean? And I feel music needs to speak for itself. Black version of MacGyver. I think it's definitely having a negative impact on the business. Because when you listen to the radio and the quality of music, and you just know to yourself why the producer they pay to get that song played. You know, and it's just one of those things where you really want to see it stop.
There's no system that I was really able to eliminate payola. And it has continued to exist. As far as I now know, it is now more highly organized, in that it's now syndicated, in that there are now so many radio stations. They have created a syndicate that involves more than one station. And I understand that there are packages of levels of cooperation.
We're not promoting what I would call, and what a lot of people would call, good music. It's not getting the support that it deserves.
In Jamaica, radio has gotten to a stage where, through payola, radio have lost focus where our culture is concerned. We've sold our culture for cash. And the radio people will tell you that they deal with sponsors, corporate sponsors, and corporate sponsors spend the money, and that they cannot do without the money. So I don't want you to do without the money, but I expect you to have a moral position as a radio station.
There's not a mechanism in place right now in Jamaica to say, okay, the best material get the pride of place.
I wanna know what happened to the good old days, yeah.
From where I sit, and I've been sitting here for a long time, we own a studio, and I've heard wonderful stuff coming up, being produced, that just never make it on airplay. And I've heard rubbish, rubbish on radio. Rubbish that even the people who make it acknowledge that they have no idea why radio would play that instead of playing something better that they made.
Oh, it feels so right.
This boils down to the DJ. If a DJ is going to trade songs here and there and for favors or whatnot, at least trade a song that you think is of some sort of quality.
I myself have gone through it. I have paid people before, so I know it. If you've never been there, you can't understand it.
Some of them are youths that them not live right.
Because at the end of the day, if you make great music, you don't need these shovel mouth shark to play your record. Listen, there are hundreds and thousands of good radio disc jockeys across the world. If you make a great piece of music, it's going to reach out to them, and they're going to play your music and it is going to become successful.
Locked in, blazing fame at 95.
Well, I mean, we don't have any hard empirical data because, obviously, because it's an illicit activity, it's hard to trace, it's hard to track. But we understand from associations like the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA, who they've done some preliminary research, which they shared with us in 2012 at a seminar that we had on Piola. And according to them, 4 out of the 5 DJs at the top 5 leading radio stations are involved in Piola. They also posit that up to 90% of the charts that are available locally are influenced, the settings are influenced by Piola. That has interesting impacts in that it contributes to the decrease in variety of music, because if you are able to pay, you're squeezing out younger talent, which perhaps doesn't have access to the kind of resources needed to get to that kind of rotation of their music. So you're squeezing out younger talent. Leads to the decrease in quality of music, because what you find, we understand from JARIA and others in the industry, that producers actually will take money out of the production budget, money that could be used to enhance the sound, quality, feel of the music. They actually divert resources from that towards Piola, to ensuring that the product that they create gets airplay. It brings into question the credibility of our chart, our industry, and makes the international movers and shakers skeptical of our industry.
When you wave a 50 pack, $50,000 or a 100 pack in front of this jockey, he's going to ignore the other recordings so that he can earn. In the case of this print, journalism is now, I don't think it's journalism anymore. They're not going out and writing interesting articles about talent. It's creating hype. Somebody is writing about the music business, their attention is now skewed to the person who gives them the money to write an article on a particular artist. And so for that, I think, this is where we're hurting. We in the music industry feel that this is a corrupt action, and that Piola is something that they should bring into law.
Yo, take this back, Reggie. And next time, give your music to the station library.
We have recommended to the government amendments to the Broadcasting and Radio Rediffusion Act, which would make Piola a criminal offense. And that would involve fines beginning at $5 million all the way up to $15 million. We're also making those fines applicable to radio stations who, if on the facts that are before the magistrate, are found to have been culpable, meaning that they have stood by, they're aware that this is happening, and they've stood by or even encouraged it, they too can be fined.
The Jamaica Reggae Industry Association has been working closely with our Broadcasting Commission, the Jamaica Broadcasting Commission, to get amendments to the act that would begin to address this issue.
But we just hope that people will just do it voluntarily, because there are others who are thinking about legislation, there are others who are thinking about laws that will mandatory cause people to play in a balanced way. You know what I mean? And yeah, we hope that we can come to some form of conclusion or make some positive decision before any of those have to come in.
Hey DJ, can you play that song? Set the mood for me to all a different energy. I'm loving.
But right now, I am very, very excited and optimistic about the future of Jamaican reggae coming out of Jamaica. If we listen to reggae from Jamaica, it will be obvious to us who these artists are, because Chronix, Protege, Kabaka Pyramid, Janine, Raging Fire, Jesse Royal. It's a whole, I would call them army of young artists who are doing very well in my opinion, and makes me really excited about the future of Jamaican reggae.
And I would love to get back to real DJs, DJs who basically can hear songs and are not afraid to actually bust a song in our dance hall scene, set it up right, play it right, and create an impact from an audience.
You know, as we get out things like payola and more quality music, I think more quality music is starting to come back on the radio. You know, seeing the trends moving towards that.
So we're saying that with the elimination of payola, we are assured that fresh voices, fresh ideas, new talent has an equal opportunity to have their voices heard, to realize their dreams.
Still me give you more of this worldwide love. Let's do away with the hate and
One of our musical legends, Robert Nesta Marley, sang, "Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver or gold." What is the wisdom behind payola? Is it really all about dollars and cents? Money, of course, is extremely important, but what about the voices and the messages that will remain long after the silver and gold is gone? But positivity and integrity are things that pass on and multiply. A positive outlook, a clean heart and a clean spirit, alongside hard work and integrity, creates better opportunities and greater possibilities. Don't you agree, Prof?
Absolutely, Nadia. Those of you who have watched this film, who have seen what we have seen, will understand why Nadia, why all of us in National Integrity Action have such hope. Hope in building integrity and combating corruption in Jamaica. It's a work in progress. There's still a far way to go in passing and in enforcing laws like campaign finance reform, in transforming institutions to make our elections even more peaceful and even more just. And of course, in your own space, doing the right thing, hard as it is, for your own success and for Jamaica's success. Be a watchdog. Be a watchdog over your own behavior first and foremost, in your community. And of course, be the eyes and the ears of NIA. Be a champion of integrity. Give us a call. Make contact with us. We look forward to hearing from you, because we alone cannot do it. We need your help. We need your assistance, and we look forward to it.
We at NIA believe that integrity is a part of the Jamaican people. I have been inspired by the stories and the people in this film. I have been reminded that so much of what we are proud of, so many of our accomplishments and achievements, be there in sport, be there in music, I'm reminded that these things oftentimes start in adversity, they start small, and they start with self. Everyday people like you and I, living with integrity, following through with integrity, making a difference in their own lives, in their communities, and in this nation. We hope that you feel the same.
It's a land of special people, a place where champions grow, a magical vibe, so much more than you will ever know. You can't ignore the music, reggae's so profound, and when it comes to the track, you know that Jamaica won't back down. On top of the world, we're more than just an island in the sun. A great nation, Bob Marley said, welcome everyone to Jamaica, sweet Jamaica. Come experience the culture, we do it like no other. Jamaica, sweet Jamaica, come seek the island's treasure. Welcome to Jamaica. Don't you ever forget that we're coming from afar. And it's Jamaica, 1, 2, 3. What an unprecedented victory for the island, and a dead stamp of supremacy and sprinting worldwide.
Building integrity, a work in progress.
Knows we are.